Hi, my name's John and welcome to Ask John D. Jones. So in today's episode I'm going to answer a question asked by Mohammad. Now a few videos ago Mohammad asked me if I could compare Episerver and Sitecore CMS. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. So my history with Episerver and Sitecore, I've been working with Episerver and Sitecore for maybe 10 odd years, 12 years. I can't even remember how long it's been. I've mainly worked on Episerver projects in that time, and I've worked on 3 Sitecore projects. So I've probably worked on say 30, 25 Episerver projects to 3 Sitecore. Now one of the main reasons of that is just because I've always preferred working with Episerver. And as a developer, Episerver has got a bit of a nicer API and it's much more easy to install. So when it comes to Episerver, you don't need to have a developer's license. You can just go to their NuGet feed, you can download Episerver, install it through NuGet, you can have it up and running in a couple of minutes. Now I've said this a few times in a couple of other videos, getting to grips and getting started with Sitecore is a little bit more complicated. With Sitecore you need to go on training, which costs a couple of £1,000s, then you need to get a license. Installing Sitecore has definitely got a bit better over the years. Now you can use PowerShell, so it can be done on Azure. But the steps and the process of getting involved in Sitecore are definitely a lot more complicated and it can put people off. Now, the interesting thing about Episerver and Sitecore is that Sitecore sells a lot more. Now, I know in Sitecore, in the UK, the Sitecore sales team is a lot bigger than the Episerver sales team. If you go on IT Jobs Watch, which is a website I normally do to check out stats and sort of day rates, what you'll be able to find is that if you learn Sitecore CMS, there's definitely more work for it. I can attest, you know, I'm a contractor and I look at all the emails and I definitely see a lot more Sitecore roles. So it's like one of those catch-22 things that maybe working with the Episerver API is a bit nicer, but obviously working with Sitecore, if you look at the day rates, if you're a permie or a contractor, Sitecore pays a little bit more, and also you're going to probably find it a lot easier to find a job. Now again, because Sitecore has more clients, you're probably going to end up with more bigger scale solutions with Sitecore. Episerver and Sitecore, they've both got, you know, fairly similar offerings. You know, both of them got CMS. You can sort of do some personalization. You can do e-commerce with both of them. So you can sort of look at doing both of them. But from experience, it seems like the really big clients, they sort of tend to prefer Sitecore because it has a bit better integration. I think one of the Episerver's problems is, if you're like an e-commerce platform anyway, is that they have Episerver Commerce. Now, if you and your business don't want to use Episerver Commerce, but you want to use something like Salesforce, and you want to use it with Commerce WebSphere or something like that, then you're probably going to go to Sitecore because all the integrations are just already up and running, which is going to make your life easier. So in terms of like maybe interesting projects, I mean, as I said, I've enjoyed working with Episerver for years and years, and I recommend anyone to do it, but it is definitely a smaller niche. So at the same time, if you're working in a smaller niche, you probably got, you know, it's easier to get a recognised name, but at the same time, you know, it's probably going to be, you know, a bit harder to find work. Now, aside from, you know, the obvious, probably Sitecore pays a little bit more. There's a bit more work in Sitecore. So probably you're going to get more harder, interesting projects really with the Sitecore, just because of the different integrations. Episerver tends to be a lot more sort of confined. So when people use Episerver, they use the whole suite of products which integrate quite nicely. The other thing that you could consider when you're using Sitecore is they've probably been a bit more innovative over the years. So back when Sitecore 8 came out, they were the first people to really do personalization. They do like the omni-channel marketing where you can add your personalization into your emails and stuff like that. Episerver bought a new company and they sort of caught up, but that did take them a year or two. Recently, you know, the new version of Sitecore's come out with a whole JS framework. So they've got, if you want to do like a content hub and then spec everything out and then work very heavily with JavaScript, at the moment Sitecore is probably a better offering than it is for Episerver. So, you know, in a general thing is I personally really enjoy Episerver. I write a lot about it. I don't really work on that many Sitecore projects just because I find it a bit clunky to install. Whenever I've had to try and upgrade Sitecore, it's literally taken like months and months. Sometimes with Episerver or, you know, a CMS like Umbraco, you can click a button and you can be upgraded in like an hour or two. So because I've had so much pain with Sitecore, especially when I was using it, in versions 5 or 6, whenever I started back in the day, is that it just I find the UI a bit clunky. But obviously over the years, things in Sitecore have got a lot better. CMS UI is much nicer, and I definitely recommend checking it out. If I was to probably start from scratch and said I had to pick one, I would probably pick Sitecore now. As I said, I'm more I've made more money from Episerver. I've always had more contracts from Episerver. I'm an Episerver EMVP, so I'm obviously always going to have a soft spot for Episerver. But for anyone looking at this thinking, which one should I learn, then Sitecore is definitely a good consideration. But again, as I was saying, if you want to get into Sitecore, you need to pay for that. You need to go on the training. You need to get your Sitecore developer license before you can even get a copy of it. So for all of you hobbyists at home who just want to look into getting into .NET, Episerver is still probably one of a great go-to, Episerver on Braco. If you're working for a company and they're saying, we're going to pay for your license and you can get onto a Sitecore project, then personally I think there's more money for you to be made if you go into Sitecore, and you're probably going to be working on more interesting problems. Anyway, I hope this has answered that question for you, Mohammed. As I said, they're both great CMS platforms. It's really, if you're going to choose either one, you're probably not going to go down a long path. Anyway, if you want to become an absolute legend, if you hit the subscribe button, I appreciate it. I'm trying to get to, I say, 300 by the end of the year. At the moment, we're on about 250 people. So hit subscribe, and it'll be the easiest way for someone to call you a legend today. Otherwise, if you want to learn anything more about Episerver CMS or Sitecore CMS, go over to my website. It's jondjones.com. That's JONDJONES.com. Over there, there's like 1,000 tutorials on how to do everything with Episerver and Sitecore, how to set it up, how to upgrade stuff, all that good stuff. Now obviously this is a channel, and most of these questions are generated by people who are watching it. So if you've got a question or you've got a comment, obviously this is YouTube, hit a comment below and I'll answer it shortly. Hope you have a great day. Catch you next time.